Welcome back to another 51st Games video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the game Catan. Inside we can find our game rules and almanac. Please refer to the game rules and almanac for any scoring or rule needs. The game does require 3 to 4 players. Up next we're going to take a look at our resource cards, which include brick, grain, lumber, wool, and ore. We're going to be taking a look at 19 terrain hexes, four different colored bags with roads, cities, and settlements, and 2 D6s. Up next we have 18 circular number tokens, and 9 additional harbor pieces for custom games. 1 robber token. And finally, in our box, we can find 4 building cost cards, 1 for each player. These building cost cards let us know how many resources it'll take in Phase 3 to build. And 2 special cards, the longest road and largest army cards. So in this gameplay, we're going to be playing with 4 players, and we're going to be setting up the game using the starter setup for beginners that we can find in our player book. Here's a picture of how we're going to be setting up the game board. According to our setup for beginners, each team starts with 2 settlements and 2 roads. As you can see, we are setting up the game board exactly how it is in the rulebook and almanac. Next up, we will be creating our resource banks that include brick, grain, lumber, ore, and wool. Also in our box, we have 25 development cards, which include the knight, the road building, our victory points, the year of plenty, and also not shown is the Monopoly card. The development cards can be purchased using the building costs board. You may purchase it on Phase 3 of your turn. The longest road and largest army cards will be set aside for now. To start the game, white will get brick, grain, and a lumber. Red will be getting 2 lumber, 1 grain. Our blue player will be receiving 1 brick, 1 ore, and 1 lumber. And our orange player will be receiving 2 grain and 1 ore. These are the resources given in the beginner's setup. Our red player will go first and begin Phase 1 of their turn, which is rolling for production. They rolled an 8, so all adjacent settlements will gather a resource. Our white player is located next to a mountain, which will gain them 1 ore. Phase 2 is trading. We have domestic trades, where players can choose to barter for resources from other players. Another way to trade is maritime trade, where 4 resources will grant you 1 of any other resource. Phase 3 of our turn is building. We can use our building costs to determine what we can build. Our red player is going to build a road to the harbor. Harbors let you trade more favorably during maritime trading. It is now our blue player's turn. They will roll for resource production, and they rolled a 4. So orange will receive 1 wool for having a settlement adjacent to 4, and players blue and orange will receive 1 grain for having a settlement adjacent to 4. The blue player will choose to skip their Phase 2 of trading and go into their Phase 3, which is building, and they will build a road. Orange player takes their turn. Phase 1, roll for resource production. They rolled a 7, activating the robber. If any player has over 7 resource cards, they must discard half of them. The player who rolled the robber must move the robber to the number token of any other terrain hex. This blocks the resource production of this hex. After discarding occurs, the player who rolled the robber may steal 1 resource card at random from a player who has a settlement or city adjacent to the new hex. The orange player decides to skip their Phase 2 trading phase and proceed to Phase 3, the building phase. They choose to build a development card. Later on in the game, our red player takes their turn and rolls a 4. The robber currently resides on 4, blocking orange and blue from collecting resources. However, orange may collect from the other 4 and gain 1 wool. Our red player would like to upgrade their settlement into a city. However, they do not have the resources. They're going to take advantage of owning a harbor that allows them to trade 2 brick for any 1 resources for maritime trading. They now have the resources required to build a city. Now you can only build a city on a settlement. Cities increase resource production by +2. The first person to 10 victory points wins the game. Please see the scoring manual and almanac for how to gain victory points. Our red player has 2 cities and 1 settlement, giving them 5 points. The white player has 3 settlements and 1 city to give them 5 points. The orange player has the largest army, 5 settlements, 1 city, giving them 9 points. And lastly, our blue player has the longest path, 3 cities, 2 settlements, giving them 10 points and securing the victory. Thanks for watching our 51st Games video tutorial on our game Catan. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram. Thanks, have a great day. Happy gaming.